Dominant gestures are decided by clustering body pose frames using K-means algorithm on joint position obtained from using convolutional pose machine on TED Talks. Gesture library is created by using joint jogging on Neo iteratively. In this, we try to mimic the body poses of cluster centers. Speech is mapped to gesture by classifying the text from speech as one of the obtained gesture using decision tree. Phrases are detected by breaking the audio at low energy region using zeroth format. Audio morphing is used to grasp the attention of listener by increasing or decreasing mean pitch based on their attention.
Mother found out later that my mother had never graduated from college. Each one of my father had never graduated from high school. She refused to sign the final adoption papers. She only relented few months later. When my parents promised that I would go to college, this was the start in my life, and 17 years later, I am all done. My father had never graduated from college. Each one of my father had never graduated from high school. She refused to sign the final adoption papers. She only relented few months later. When my parents promised that I would go to college, this was the start in my life, and 17 years later, I am all done. She and my father had never graduated from high school. Relented a few months later. She refused to sign the final adoption paper. When my parents promised that I would go to college, and 17 years later, this was the start in my life. I am all done. She and my father had never graduated from high school. Relented a few months later. She refused to sign the final adoption paper. When my parents promised that I would go to college, and 17 years later, this was the start in my life. I am all done.
As you can see, the observations in the study are recorded here. The first one represents the ranks assigned by attendees to different behaviors based on their human likeness. The response to question 2 is the average of scores out of 10 assigned by attendees to different behaviors based on human likeness. Response to question 3 is the average of the scores out of 10 assigned by attendees to different behavior based on their gesture to speech synchronization. And response to question 4 is the average of scores out of 10 assigned by attendees to different behaviors based on self-improvisation of the generated gestures. From these observations, we can conclude that the acceptance of our method by the attendees is better than the previously available methods.